Dragon Rampant. We are working our way through the scenarios included in this book, and today, as you probably already realized from reading the title card, we're going to be playing through scenario number C, The Death Chase. Want to thank those of you that have been helping educate me on this game. Special shout out to those of you in the comments who politely indicate what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. We are getting better all the time. As usual, we are going to be using the Roman Empire. Look at this massive force here. We have got our leader right here, King Hopper, he of the leaning saddle, Mr. Five Toes himself, is a member of the Heavy Riders. They have countercharge. They do not have the wild charge, by the way, on that. To countercharge, they need a 7-up. The Elite Riders over here, these boys with the lances, they do have wild charge. We've got a unit of Elite Foot, 2 units of light foot with spears, and 1 unit of light bows. Very easy. But we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Instead of the undead in the desert, it's going to be a fight with, oh, look at that big boy. Yeah, it's about time we had a dragon getting rampant up in here. We've got a dragon rampant. Well, he's not here. He's, you know, he's a miniature wargame figure. That's about as rampant as we get. Those of you guys that are in the Society for Creative Anachronism can tell me what that dragon is doing right there, because I know it ain't rampant. Taken straight from the rulebook, he is supported by the Troll Brothers. That's these 3 big boys right here. They are Elite Foot. We've got a unit of Orcs. They are light foot with mixed weapons. No wall of spears for these guys, but they can shoot with a range of 6 inches. I'm playing 15 millimeter. I cut everything in half. So our movement is going to be 5 inches for Mr. Dragon, who can fly, by the way. The Troll Brothers are the slow ones. They can only move 3 inches. And both the Scouts, here are the little frog Scouts, and the light Orc foot, they can move 4 inches. So not as big a force here. I'm not sure how this is going to go. The first thing we have to decide is who's going to get to go, who's going to be on offense, who's going to be on defense. This is a simple get as many units across the board as possible scenario. But we also need to figure out where they're coming in from. So let's take a look at the terrain, and we'll figure all that out. We are in the shifting sands of the desert terrain today. These little domes are sand dunes. They slow going, movement by half. The woods, all the terrain slows movement by half with the exception of the pyramids here, which cannot be moved through. Everything else can be moved through. The woods and the ruins can be shot into or through at a -1. You can shoot into the dunes, but not across the dunes. Again, at a -1. I think that's it. Now, bear in mind, we do have Flyer here, and he can just hop, skip, and jump right over all of the terrain. For this scenario, we're going to play lengthwise, and let's see, the Defender deploys along the east edge of the table. Okay, Defender deploys over there. Let's figure out who that is. High roll is the attacker. The orange die, the flame for the guy here, right, for Dragon, and then the yellow die for the boys in yellow and white. High roll is the attacker. Wouldn't you know it, it's a tie. High roll is the attacker. The GCMini.com is the 6 on this die, so the high roller is the Dragon. He is the attacker. The Defender deploys along the east table edge with at least 1 model from each unit touching the edge. The attacker then deploys along the north and south, no closer than 9 inches from the east side. Let's deploy. The Defenders deploy first. They are going to score 1 point for every unit that escapes off the west side of the table. If the unit is at half strength or more, they get 3 points. For every unit routed or destroyed by El Rojo Dragon there and his forces, he'll score 2 points. We've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units on the table. So the decision here was we'll put our horses up on the right flank. We'll see if we can race them across as fast as possible. Those are the quick units. All of these foot units are only going to be moving at 3 inches per turn. And by the way, this is not elite foot, this is heavy foot. Technically, I suppose I should have 6 more guys to make this unit half strength. Hey, they're heavy foot. These guys each have 2 strength points, okay? And they're down here to kind of slow things down. The strategy on this side of the table is to put the Dragon first. Wipe out as many of those units as you can. Bear in mind the Dragon is the leader. Everybody within, so many inches of him. Oh, I almost forgot. We need to figure out what our special ability is for King Hopper over there. Dragon is going to be fine. He's a big boy. Wipe out as many units with him as possible. If you can wipe out 3 units, you basically won the game. It'll make it really hard to score enough points to come out on top. We've got the heavy foot down here batting cleanup, and then use your scouts and your light foot to kind of get into this terrain and just slow everybody down, do as much damage as you can. So that's kind of the strategy we're looking at here. And with all of that said, I think we're just about ready to start. Let's go ahead and roll 3d6 and figure out what the special ability for King Hopper is this battle. On a result of a 12, it's gonna be... he is a goater. Every turn, 1 unit within 12 inches may automatically pass a move activation without needing to roll dice. So if anybody within 6 inches of King Hopper over here, he can declare a unit, they automatically use their action to move. That's going to be huge for a race like this. As if things weren't nutty enough as it is, old Dan Mercy gives the defenders one more little obstacle to climb. To simulate the surprise of an ambush, the defender may not declare any attacks or shootings in the first 2 turns of the game. In the two turns of the game. I think there's a first missing there. So their first 2 actions, they cannot declare any moving, any attacking or shooting. I'm going to be using the green dice for the movement, and we are not dumb, so the first thing we'll do is take advantage of that free move for the king is going to say, hey, why don't you guys race up 3 inches? And what I'll do is I'm going to roll, and I'm just going to move 1 figure just to show you where the lead figure moves. And then I'll shut the camera off and move everybody up. It'll speed the video up, and you won't have to watch a whole lot of just this. You know? All right. So the next guys we're going to go are, for the moves, we're going to go ahead and move the king his own self. And on an 8, he will move up 5 inches to here. Then we'll move the... who's got a really good move? Who can we count on here? The Lightfoot are going to move up on a 5. That's these guys. I probably should have moved somebody else. So these guys will move up 3 inches. We'll just bring them up to there. And then we'll bring up, I think we want to move the horse. We're going to move the horses up there. On an 11, they will move 5 inches. They are the hardest to move with a 7 up. The bows have a 6 up, and these heavy foot have a 5 up. So let's move the heavy foot first. We may be able to use them to slow down the dragon. The dragon, I believe, has wild charge. And for the last one on a 9, yeah, these bowmen, unfortunately, because they're climbing the hill, all they're going to be able to do is move up like so and kind of piling around. Now, unfortunately, my hill is a little bit too steep. So that's it for the Bromans. For the part of Senor Rojo Fuego, everybody moves on a 5 except for the dragon his own self, who moves on a 6. We are going to start by trying to bring these guys out into the center of play. And on an 8, they will be able to move there. How fast do they move? 4 inches? Man, these guys are quick. So we'll bring them right out. 4, 4, and 4, like so. Then these scouts are moving on a 5. And they're going to move up. Scouts, are they also quick? Yeah, they're moving 4 inches as well, so we'll be able to get them out. Well, you know, I think we want to bring these guys into... what do we want to do? I think we move them right there is fine. And then we'll roll for the orcs way back there. On a 10, they are going to be able to move, and as Lightfoot, you know, I wonder if we don't want to just... We're just going to form shield wall. I don't want to risk it. So these guys are going to form shield wall. It'll be like 3 ranks deep, and what that does is it gives them a +1 to their armor. Normally they have an armor of 2. It's going to go up to 3. And is there anything else? Where's shield wall? And then we got to move this guy on a 6 up. On a 5 up, he does not move. He does have wild charge, so that's why I'm moving him last, because as soon as somebody comes up in front of him, we're going to get a free chance to just charge in and just tear the heck out of him. By putting those guys in shield wall, it's going to force the elite riders, when they get to about here, normally they'd have to kind of curve through to escape, but they've got wild charge. It's going to draw them into a fight that those riders don't want to have. That is the end of the turn for the dragon, so we'll reset take a look at what the Roman Empire is doing. All right, this is not an easy one for the humans. The free activation for movement. And again, nobody can attack, so it's just moving. This guy's going to move 3 inches to here, and this guy's going to move 3 inches to here, and everybody's going to pile in around like so. They are a bit ragged because they're not in shield wall. We're going to bring them around like this if we can. That is the only free activation we get. I think we can probably bring this guy up just a little bit more like that too. Then we want to move... Let's move our king next. And on a 6... Ooh, that might... Yep, he moves on a 5. And this time around, I think we're going to have to go ahead and just move, because we need the space. Remember that your boys have to leave 1.5 inches between. Then we're going to try to move these spearmen. And on an 8, they are going to be able to follow along. They'll follow the king like so. And things get awkward at this point, I think, because our king is not going to be able to use his free move to move these spears. He's in the way. If we move him first next turn, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Let's try to move the knights up there first. Those elite riders are going to move on a 7. They'll come up 5 inches to here. And I think in the next turn, they are absolutely going to be into the wild charge range. But again, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. We've still got these foot guys down here that want to move. And on a 7, they absolutely will move up to here like this. And the last move is going to be for the archers. And I think we'll roll to move them, and on a 4, they don't. So that's the last turn. These guys are now free to do whatever attacks they want. But it's not their turn. The orcs, way over in that corner there, are happy in shield wall. We're going to try to move these guys first. And as a 6 will do it, they move on 5s. They're going to be able to move 4 inches to here. 4, 4, and 4. So they're heading off the king. They're going to try to choke him off right there. Our scouts are going to try to move, and on a 10 they will. They can move 4 inches, so pretty quick. These guys have some fun abilities. If they get charged, they can roll, and on a 7-up, they can shoot bows and then move 3 inches away. So they may be able to escape. I forgot. Let's check our boss man. He is just outside of wild charge range. So we're going to see if we can move him. And on a 6, he moves. So we'll bring him around like so. And this way, on our next turn, he's going to be ready to just launch in to this group of guys. That's the 4 for Senor Rojo Fuego, who does have... Oh, you know what else he does? He does have a flame breath weapon. That might have been the smarter play. If you roll for him to shoot, he can shoot 6 inches. This unit is within... That is the smarter play. I already moved him. I already took my hand off. I already did it. I should have been smarter than that. He does have the ability to breathe a breath weapon. That's going to be huge moving forward. We're not there yet. We are going to use our free move to bring these guys 3 inches up. I think this light unit is going to be our sacrificial lamb. We're going to bring them up the 3 inches. That's about as far as he can get. So we'll kind of keep them relatively close to each other. Like so. That's our free move. Don't even have to dice for it. Now they're the closest. They're going to take the brunt of this guy's ire. The next thing we'll do is we'll roll for... Oh. The knights over there in the back. This is a 6-inch ruler. If you can see it back there. Are more than 5 inches away. So they do have an opportunity to run. But we're going to move this guy first. And on a 5-up, the heavy riders do move 5 inches. So they're going to come up to here. And we're going to have to start thinking about, do we really want to bring our king off the field immediately? We're going to try to move these spears next. On a 5-up, Lightfoot will move 3 inches to here. And who else do we want to move up? Get on up there, guys. We can try to move... We're going to try to move these guys. And I've rolled a 3, so that's the end of the turn. We start things off easy. The dragon has to wild charge that light foot. On a 5-up, he does. He makes his charge. And then because he is on the attack, he is going to be rolling all 12 dice, hitting on 3s. And it's going to be a grand total of 2 misses for him. So he does 10 damage to a unit with an armor value of 2. 5 of these guys are wiped out. We're just going to lay him down. But the spearmen do get a chance to counterattack, and they are going to be hitting at defense on a 4-up. The dragon has an armor value of 4. Hitting on 4-up, it's going to be 1, 2, 3 hits altogether. They do nothing in return. To make matters worse, they have to make a courage check. Are they within 6 inches of the king? They are not, so no bonuses for that. At -5, they get a 1. And if the difference is positive, now they've failed their check, so they are battered. They are going to have to retreat. But they have not quit the field of battle. With the dragon over here done, we can look at these other 3 units. We'll start by trying to move the elite foot. Sorry for the bump. They are going to be able to move 4 more inches, which will put them right here. Headed for a nice confrontation. Then we're going to try, we're okay with the orcs down there, but now we get into the interesting thing for these scouts. They're, to be honest with you, they kind of suck. They attack and defend on 6s, but they are a really interesting skirmish unit. As an ordered activation, they can make a half a move and shoot, either before or after this movement. They shoot with -1 to their die score. So on a 7, that's what we're doing, and on a 7 they do. They can move a 1/2 move, which in their case is 2 inches. So they do their half move to here, and then they stand up, and then they shoot at this unit right here. So that is going to be a shooting, the range of 6 inches. They're clearly within 6, and they hit on 6s. They get a total of 4, 5, 6s. Oh, man. Against a unit that is Heavy Riders, has an armor of 3, so they eliminate 1 figure from the unit, and that unit has to make a courage test. And with a result of an 8, +1 for the king, that becomes a 9. There's the other die. That becomes a 9. The unit is okay. They're not battered. They don't have to retreat or anything like that. Pretty impressive. And then we're just going to leave those guys in shield wall again. We're going to force the knights to kind of come around. That's the end of the turn for the dragon's forces. The first thing we have to do is try to rally this battered unit. And on a 9, -5, they get a result of 4, which for heavy foot means they recover. But they're done for the turn. Then we use our free activation. This unit is within 6 inches of the king. They are going to get to move a free 3 inches up to about here. Kind of traveling along in his wake, aren't they? Like so. Then things get interesting. We're going to move this unit. And with a 5, that heavy foot does get to move. Now they have to stay 1.5 inches away from the dragon, which is where my finger is. But they can move 3 inches, and they're going to try to sneak on by, boop, 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 like so. So we'll they're going to have to kind of string out a little bit, but they're not interested in fighting that dragon. They're interested in getting past him. Then we can roll for the king to move. Actually, I'm going to roll for the king first. He's a lot more likely. 3, it didn't matter. Either way, they are done. And kicking back over to the dragon, he is going to charge into this battered unit. On a result of an 8, he will wild charge. He's going to get to roll his 12 dice. I might have only rolled 11 dice last time, but I rolled 11 for everybody. Since he attacked, Mr. Dragon is going to be hitting on 3s, and every pair of 3s will net him a casualty. So we've got a total of 6 hits for 3 more casualties. These spearmen are now at half strength. And they do get to make their attack, hitting on 4s. They'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hits this time. And those 8, they're hitting on 4s. 8 hits against armor value of 4. So they do manage to do some damage this time. They're going to hit him twice. And I'm going to put 2 casualty markers on him. But they will have to make a courage check. And an 11 minus 8 gives them a result of 3. So they get pushed back again, but they're still in the fight. They pull back 1.5 inches. They're battered again. Oh, okay. Is that true? They have lost 8 guys. They're not within 6 of the king. They're at half strength, so that's an additional -1. So 11 minus 9 is a 2, and they stay on board. Now they are battered, no doubt about that, but they're not eliminated. And the corridor is open for these archers to start taking out the dragon. If the dragon dies, everybody on the other team is going to have to make a courage check. This might work out pretty well for them. It feels like I might be doing something wrong here. That dragon, if he had an armor of 5, he might be a little more impressive. But he has to wild charge. That's the big thing. He can't even breathe fire. Unless you are between 5 and 6 inches away. That's it for him. Looking at the 2-legged warriors, we start with the big boys. And 8 allows them to move 4 inches up to here. And we're going to get our confrontation with the boss man. Our scouts are going to... What? Should we just shoot with them? They have a shoot score of 7. That's not great. They do have a move of 5 and an attack of 7. But they only have 1 armor. So they're not going to last very long. Maybe what we should do is pull them back into here and start shooting, because it does make them a little stickier. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to move them. On a 6, they're going to move 4 inches into cover. They are fleet-foot, so they don't suffer any penalties. And basically, they're just going to stand here and spend the rest of the game shooting out. They may be able to do some damage. And then the last unit is going to be those orcs who are still happy with right where they are at. So the play kicks over to the humans, and we have to start with a morale check for this battered spear unit right here. And on an 8 minus 9 there at -1, they are finally off the board, and that is 2 victory points for the dragon. First blood to the dragon. The next thing we're going to do is take advantage of the free move by bringing these guys up 3 inches to here. And we're going to do that first because we want to shoot the dragon with all of those archers. The the bowmen are going to shoot on a 6-up. And on a 9, they'll do it. So that is these archers here who are all on the top of this sand dune. They are firing at the dragon with a shoot value of 5 up. They have a 9-inch range. No penalty for that, so it's just going to be hitting on 5s. And they're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4. They're going to do another damage to the dragon, who is now at half strength. He is going to have, that does force him, so he's only going to be rolling 6 dice for all his attacks now. He does need to make a courage check, and on a 9, -3, he gets a 6. He passes that courage check. He is not battered. Then we'll roll for these slippery fellas down here, and on a 7, they're going to move 3 inches out of the way, like so, and that pretty much guarantees that the dragon is going to have to wild charge the bowmen up here. So we got another sacrificial unit in the form of the bowmen. But before we get to that, we have a couple of more units to check. We've got these knights and we've got those knights. We'll start with the guys in back. They need a 7 or better, and on a 6 the turn is over. So turn kicks over to the dragon, and he is going to have to wild charge these guys. On an 8 he does, and now it's time for him to get some payback for that bow damage. And he will tear him up, but he only gets to roll 6 dice because he has taken 3 of his 6 wounds. And attacking, he's going to hit on 3s, as usual. He will get a total of 6 hits. The bowman will lose 3 guys for those 6 hits, but they will counterattack, hitting on, oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. The dragon is a ranger, so his profile is unchanged. The bowmen are not, so they attack and defend on a 5, and I think their armor goes up to 3. Nope, I just checked. I'm wrong about that. Everybody in the bad going has an armor of 2. Oh, unless you're a ranger. So the dragon will keep his armor of 4, but the bowmen are going to be hitting on 5s instead of 6s. They're going to get a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. So that extra little oomph allows them to do 1 more damage to the dragon. Now, at a difference of 1 wound to 3 wounds, the bowmen will have to make their courage check, and at -3. 9 minus 3 is 6. They have a courage of 4. They're okay. I mean, aside from the 3 dead guys, the rest of them are okay, I suppose. And then because they lost, the attacker has to slide back 1.5 inches. So it ends a little something like that. That was the dragon's wild charge. Look at those elite riders. They're just hiding behind the trees. You go get them, guys. And the orcs down there are like, yeah, maybe we could just sit this one out, have a little Christmas truce. In the meantime, we're going to try to see if we can do melee right here. We're going to bring our elite foot in up against this guy. And on a 9, they are going to... Now, elite foot, the troll brothers, our elite foot, they attack on a 5 up. They are going to move their... Oh, I've been giving them too much movement, I think. They're only supposed to move 3 inches. Well, they're moving 3 inches now, baby. So they get stuck in here. And they're going to roll their full 12 attack dice. That counts as a charge, right? See, this is one of the things I've been really bad about. I'm going to move them halfway up. When they hit that halfway point, we need to see if these guys countercharge. The heavy riders do have countercharge on a 7 up. They do not, but at least we remembered. So the black blades of the trolls get stuck in, and they are going to be attacking on 3 up. The heavy riders have an armor of 3. And on a 3 up, they're going to be able to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they do 1 more damage. And then for the counterattack, they're still at full value. The heavy riders, their defense is only 5 up. They're only hitting on 5s. If they have countercharge, they'd be hitting on 4s. Hitting on 5s, and they are looking to score 4 hits. Hitting on 5s, they get nothing, which means the king is going to have to make a route check. And, he needed to be... these guys are within 1.5 inches. They can't move like that. They got to come over here a little bit more. I always forget about that buffer. It applies even to your friends. So we got a 10 for our courage check for the king, which becomes an 11 because he is the 10. And then you subtract 2 for the strength points, he's fine. But they do have to retreat 1.5 inches to there. And then these scouts are going to fire off, well, they're going to try anyway, they're shooting on a 7 up. And 11 will be successful. So they're shooting at these guys, and they're hitting on, and I warned you, Frog Scouts, not great. They're only hitting on, well, their shoot value is a 5-up. So there's 1, 2, 3 hits altogether. That's only going to eliminate 1 spearman. They are going to pass their courage check. And since they're so far away, that's all she wrote. Unless we want to bring those guys out, which we really don't. The next order of business is to do some measuring. Nobody needs to check for any distances or nothing. There is a gap of 4 inches between the ogres and these scouts, which means we can send our we have just enough space to sneak these spearmen up, like so. 3 inches will get him to about there, and then it'll be, well, we'll bring him back. The movement gets a little bit flustery there. Inch and a half, they're done. Then we'll go ahead and I think we want to try and shoot with our archers. A 6, they're still at full strength, hitting on 5s. They only need what are the bows? They need a 6 to shoot. They do hit on 5s, even though they're in the rough terrain. So hitting on 5s means they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That die was cocked, and that is going to be enough to do 1 more point of damage to the dragon. Making a courage check, we get an 8, becomes a 9, minus 5 is a 4, and the dragon's courage is a 3. So even though he's down to 1 hit point, he is okay right where he's at, doesn't need to retreat or anything. The next order of business is to try to move these heavy foot, and an 8 will allow them to sneak up another 3 inches. 1, 2, 3. And then we've got what do we want to do? We're going to try to bring those knights out. They move on a 7 or better. They finally decide that they're going to come to the aid of their king, like so. They're more than 5 inches away from those spearmen, so now those spearmen are going to have to commit. They're going to have to come in and give those guys somebody to charge. There's just no help for it. The last unit on the board for the king is going to be an attack order, and these 4 guys are going to go to town, and we're just going to bring them right on in to the elite foot. Okay, you know I'm dumb. I forgot I gave those guys mixed weapons. If I was playing against an opponent and I only had to track one side's forces, those orcs would have been raining missile fire at the... Would they have? No, they have a range of... No, I'm good. They have a range of 6 inches, and these guys were like 6.5 inches away. I'm not as dumb as I thought. But if you're playing at home, don't forget when you give these your Lightfoot mixed weapons, because that can be a game changer. It can be as effective as guys like this right here. As it is, we need to do a combat right here, and the heavy riders are attacking on 4s. They're trying to kill guys that have an armor of 4. We're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to get a total of 1 hit on them. And then they are, so I'm going to put a wound under this big boy. Then they are going to counterattack, and because they are heavy foot on the defense, they defended a 4. Wow, I'm really impressed. Those guys are good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is going to allow them to do 1 more damage, and now our king is at half strength. Ruh-roh Raggy, he's got to make a morale check, and with an 11, he's going to be fine. It'll be a total of -3 for the losses, but +1 because the king is in there, so they're good. But they do have to retreat that 1.5 inches, like so. And I think that's the end of the turn. Now our dragon has to charge. On an 8 he does. He is at half strength, so we're just going to roll 6 dice. Hitting on 5s, he's only going to do... No, he's a ranger. He's still a ranger, so he's still hitting on 3s. He's going to do 4 hits altogether, which will eliminate 2 more of these guys. They are going to get to attack back at full strength, hitting on 5s. If they can get 4 of them, they will have killed the king. And there's your 4 right there. The dragon goes down. He got sucked into a fight in bad conditions. That's the danger of those wild charges. And that is bad news for the dragon's forces. That is really bad news for the dragon's forces, because with him dead, all of his guys have to make a morale check. Let's bounce back over so we can see them all. And then we have to make a morale check for the scouts. And I think they're still at half. They've only lost 10 of their AP. When to test courage. If the leader is killed, make it a test immediately. And then the courage factors for that are, I think everybody's at -1 for each strength point they've lost so far, which is none. -1. No, that's it. Okay, so these guys are okay. The heavy foot over here are rolling at -1. They get a total of 5. And they have a courage of 3+, so they're good. And these light orcs, the orcs over here, the Lightfoot, they have a courage of 4+. So they are good too. They haven't lost anybody. Then it's still the dragon's turn. We're going to start by trying to move those orcs into position. And we do not. Oh, that's really bad for them, isn't it? So play kicks over to the humans. And the first thing we have to do is our wild charge for these guys. And on a 5, the elite riders are going to attack. They're going to hit these guys like so. And they are going to roll all 12 dice. On the attack, they are going to be hitting on 3s. There's some misses, there's some misses. They get a total of 6 hits. That's going to eliminate 1 of the trolls. The trolls are going to counterattack at full strength. They are heavy foot. They're hitting on 4s. They're going to get a total of, we'll pull out the misses to make the counting a little bit easier. They're going to get a total of 2, 4, 6 hits, which against elite riders is only going to do 1 wound. So at a total of 1 wound to 1 wound, it's a draw, and our elite riders are going to have to pull back. But wait, there's more. The king uses his special ability to move these guys up. That's your free move, staying 3 inches away, just kind of sidling on through. Don't mind us, guys. We're just kind of passing by. Like so. Have they lost 2, 4, 6, 8, 9? Yeah, they lost 1. Okay. Then we're going to try to move these heavy foot. They are going to move another 3 inches. And they haven't taken a hit yet either. Remember, the score is still 2 victory points to the dragon, to none for the humans. We're going to try to move the archers next. They're going to move, and all they're going to be able to do is come down off the dune. So I'm not even going to show you that. That one's easy. And then the last unit we have to do is the king, who can now, he can actually just straight up move. Does he want to race around this side and try to get off? Or do we want to try to punch through these guys? That's an interesting one. They're only at half strength, so they're only worth 1 point. Let's go ahead and attack these guys. On a 5, a heavy riders will be able to attack, so they move up. They are at half strength, so they're rolling on 6, but they do have an attack value of 4. We need some 4s. They're not going to get it. They're only going to hit 3 times. That does nothing. The trolls will be. Maybe we should have charged the scouts here. The trolls are going to get to roll 12, and since they're on defense, they are going to be. Man, elite foot are just devastating, aren't they? They're hitting on 4s. They're going to get a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and just 7. Okay, so they take out 1 more guy. Still not. We're still not the king. Is this? I pulled him off, didn't I? I did it again. I need to find a better model for my king. they're going to be down to just 2 figures, so the king pulls back. There you go. And now the king has to make a morale check, and he's going to get a 9. -4 is a 5. +1 for him, that's a 6. And heavy riders, they're fine. They're good. And I think that's it. The frogmen now are going to try to shoot at these spearmen. And on a 7, what is their scouts, right? Shooting on a 7-up, they get it. They're going to roll all 12 dice, hitting on 6s. For every pair of 6s, they will do damage. If they can eliminate enough guys, they may be able to save a couple. So there's 1, 2. 2 guys go down. That forces a morale check. 9 -3 is a 6. Becomes a 7 because they're close enough to the king. They're okay. But, you know, if these scouts can just whittle these guys down far enough that they only have half unit, it's only going to be worth 1 point when they get off the board. That's what they're thinking anyway. Then we're going to use our heavy trolls to we're trying to wipe out the king here. They are going to attack the king. And that is a much safer fight for them because they are still at full strength. They are still, I'm just going to re-roll that one again. There we go. 5s. They are hitting on 3s when they attack. And that's going to be 1 more kill. So the king stands alone. But he does get to roll 6 dice. Unfortunately, he gets, you know what, I forgot, countercharge. And a 6 isn't going to do it. You need a 7 to countercharge. So instead of attacking on 4s, the king is going to be attacking on 5s. And he gets a grand total of 2 hits, which is not enough to do anything. He needs to make his morale check at, that's a 7. -5 is a 2. So he falls back, and now the king is battered, and his special ability does not count anymore. That is the end of the turn for the humans. The next order of business is for the... Wait, was that for the humans? No, that was the Troll Brothers activating. We still need to activate these guys over here. They are going to move. And on a 6, Lightfoot, they move on a 5. We got to bring them around 4 inches to here. They are no longer in shield wall, but we're going to take advantage of the... There we go in mob, and I do have kind of a fake pig face Roman leader there. So they're going to take advantage of these guys serving as a tar pit, and they're going to try to get back around. Even if these guys get off, this Lightfoot may be able to stop the Horsey Boys. That is the end of the turn for the Dragon's forces. We have to try to rally our king, and with a 7 -5, we get a 2. He loses, I think he loses another strength point. He's battered. He failed the test. He loses 1 more strength point. That takes him off the board. I believe, tell me if I did that wrong, guys. So everybody's got to make a courage check, including our elite riders, who get an 8, they're okay. Our bowmen over there are not okay. Our spearmen right here are going to be okay. They have lost, they're 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. They've lost 3, that becomes a 7. And Lightfoot, 7, their courage is 4, so they're okay. And then our Heavyfoot have a courage of 4, and they're okay as well. So when you fail that... The archers retreat half a move and become battered. But they recover. And it's still the humans' turn. We'll try to move these 3 points off the table first, and it's no longer their turn. The scouts are going to take another shot. Oh! No, these guys have to wild charge. They succeed, and they're going to get in a little punch-up with these elite foot, who are cleverly disguised as trolls. Now, because they attacked, those elite riders are going to be hitting on 3s, and they've only missed twice on that die roll. So they do a total of, there's 4, and here's 4. They knock out another figure. That's 2 wounds altogether. But for their part, the elite foot are hitting on 4s. And they're going to score 1 hit, and that's going to be it. Just 1 more hit against these elite riders. With 2 hits to 1. It is the heavy foot that have to check morale. He gets a total of 7, minus 4 for the wounds. A 3 is going to give him a courage result of 3, and he succeeds. Do you have a -1 if your king is dead? I kind of feel like if your king is dead, it's -1 if your retinues had half the army points removed from play. That's not the case. Yeah, so he's okay. He lives to fight another round, and now, so we did that, and then somebody failed to move, so it does become these guys' turn. We're going to start with the Lightfoot trying to move into position. They fail. That's the end of the turn. All right, first things first, we're going to try to move this Lightfoot on a 7. They will slide 3 more inches closer to the goal. And they're going to come up to here, and we'll leave them in their nice little linear sliding. Now, they're not in shield wall. We can kind of spread them out just a little bit to kind of indicate no shield wall for you. Then we're going to try to move these guys. We might be able to get to 6. And a 4 for heavy foot is not going to do it. We're going to try to shoot with these guys. The spears are still in range. A 7 allows them to take a shot. The scouts, remember they hit on 6s. Looking for a pair of 6s. They get 1 more down. Courage check. And a 5 minus 4 is a 1. So they have to retreat 1.5 moves to here. And they are battered. Which could be trouble for them. Then we're going to, particularly because we're going to move that Lightfoot up. With a 9, they will move 4 inches. And they got to stop right there, boy. Oh, baby. Yeah. Suddenly, all of those victory points start slipping away, don't they? The big boy down there is going to... What do you do with him? I think you just go ahead and, if you can eliminate one more guy, so he moves into combat. Now, he's only going to roll 6 dice. But if you can eliminate one more guy, this goes from 3 victory points to 1 victory point. Even if he dies in this. He charged in the elite... Oh, wait, the elite riders have a countercharge. And on an 8, they get it off. Okay. So what that does is, this guy's attack value of 3 does not do any damage. The knights still get to roll 12 dice, and because they countercharge, their attack value is 3 instead of 5. And they're going to be able to do 1 hit and 2 hits, and that's the end of the game for the Troll Brothers. All right. Half of these guys' points are off the table now, so they will be at an additional -1 on all of their courage checks. But these guys have a chance to... Wait, did we already shoot with them? Where are we at on this turn? Yeah, they battered this unit by shooting. They moved up, so it is now the humans' turn, and we're going to try to move this unit up. And a 4 isn't going to do it. So now these guys will... Oh, I'm sorry. The first thing we have to do is roll to recover. And a 6 minus 4 is a 2. They lose 1 more point. And they have to retreat. I guess they retreat 1.5 inches this way, because they have to retreat away from the enemy. They are down to just 7 points, and they're still battered. Then we failed to move here, so our... Scouts are still 6 inches away. We're going to shoot them again. And a 6, I think that's a failure on the scouts. They shoot on a 7 up. Yeah, so spears rolling to recover. Roll a 2, and they flee. That's it. They're done. I've had enough. So that's another 2 victory points. Wow, just like that. Man, that was nuts. Not only that, but it frees up these guys' hand. Okay. So that was the recovery check. Now we got to move these guys up. And a 4 isn't going to do it. Man, this activation is just an absolute killer, isn't it? All right, we're going to move these light troops in to force a charge from there. They're going to be able to move 4 inches, which won't allow them to attack, right? But it does force the wild charge. Then these guys are outside of range. We're going to have to move these guys. And that's exactly what we're going to do. With a 9, they're going to move over to here. They're going to stay in cover, but they are going to be, well, ooh. See, these guys can still sneak away, can't they? We're sitting at 4 points to the dragon for 0 points to the humans. The humans have a total of 3, 6, 9 points left on the table. And yeah, I think that's how we'll do it. Because we still have an opportunity. I think we let these guys go. The frogmen are going to let these guys go. And the frogmen are happy because the bowmen are so far back. Look at that. They're way off the edge. Meaningful choices. Strategic decisions. This game has everything that you could possibly hope for. That is the end of the turn for our Dragon's forces. These guys have to wild charge. A 3 means they fail, but the turn is not over. The heavy foot still have an option of moving. Now they've failed. Man, with the death of King Hopper, these humans are just not interested in playing at all, are they? We're going to bring these guys into... So this is where it gets interesting. If we leave these guys in defensive formation, yeah, they're going to form shield wall. Oh, well, they're going to try anyway. And a 5, is that a failure? Heavy foot, move on a 5? Nope. So they are now in shield wall because they know that wild charge is coming. Then why don't we go ahead and bring these guys out? And on a 6, do scouts move on a 6? Yeah, they do. We're going to go ahead and have some fun. We're going to bring them up to here. We're going to, and the reason we're going to do that is, if we can just knock this bow unit down to half strength, we'll cost the humans 2 points. We'll let these guys go, but these guys are still a liability as long as they're rolling to get off the table, right? And by moving, oh, you know, the other thing is by moving there, we have the option of hitting them. So it forces the humans to get these guys out of bow range. So the first thing we do is a wild charge, and yeah, blammo, we're going to charge into these guys who are in shield wall and now have a armor value of 3. The elite riders have an attack value of 3. And we're not necessarily hoping to win this combat outright. We're just hoping to do enough damage to keep them from scoring more points. With an attack value of 3, we're going to get a total of 7 hits. Is only going to do 2 wounds against these guys. Then we're going... I wonder if we should have shot. I wonder if we shouldn't have used our missile fire to do damage without taking counter damage. Well, 2 wounds. It's too late now. Our defensive power, while we are in shield wall, the orcs will counterattack, hitting on 4s, and they're going to do a really good job, actually. That is 1, 2 hits. So with an even Steven, those 2 hits are going to remove 2 guys. And nobody has to make a courage check because it was 2-2. But the elite riders have been thrown back with a truly impressive counterattack on the part of the orcs. This might be a clean sweep. That was the wild charge for the elite knights. Now we're going to try to bring these guys up, get them to safety, and 3 inches will take them out of attack range of the scouts. Then these guys are going to, they have a range of 9 inches. And that 9 inches will... They are just out of range, aren't they? All right, so they will move. And they will move up 3 inches, like so. There's only 7 of them. They're almost to half strength, but that's all they can do. Now we'll move these guys, and they are going to have to... No, you know what? We don't have to do nothing. We're going to pursue. We're going to put more pressure on these guys. We're going to bring these scouts over to here. No, we're going to charge. We're going straight at them. We know these scouts, all these scouts have to do is take out 2 bowmen. And I think that's the game. Then the orcs are going to sit tight. They're in shield wall still. They're not battered. They didn't lose any morale checks, so they're done. Then the knights have to do their charge. They're only going to get to roll 6 dice. And they are still going to be hitting on 3s, but they only do 1 damage. And the light foot are going to be hitting on 4s. And they're going to get a grand total of 1, 2. Okay, so this time around they only do 1 damage, but that's enough, man, because this morale check is going to be at -5. It's a 1. They have not. The humans have not lost half their AP. Otherwise, that would be at 0. So he just falls back to no avail. He's just 1 guy, but all he can do is keep throwing himself in. That's the wild charge. Our foot are going to try to leave, and they're not going to get away with it. Which means these archers can't even fire. So these guys can fire. On an 8, they will. They're rolling to shoot. They're hitting on 5s. And they're going to do a total of 1 hit to these bowmen, who make a morale check at 3, -6. They rout from the table. More than half of the defenders have been driven from the table. And I think that is, what is that, the 6th point? The Bromans only have 4 victory points on the table. The Bromans have these 3 victory points, and that 1, that half-strength unit up there, and that guy is not long for the world because he is 1 guy against a shield wall. Knights, horses, cavalry in general don't do great charging into giant walls of sharp, pointy sticks. This is a solid thumping on the part of the dragon. It looked like the dragon's forces had a hard go of things early on, but a string of disastrous activation rolls in the second half of the game left the humans standing around doing a whole lot of nothing. Hey, sometimes you don't get those activations. That's just the way the game works. You got to plan for it. You got to hope for it. And on a scenario like this, it becomes absolutely critical to make those activation rolls. Otherwise, you're never going to get off the field. What a great, fun little game. I think we did a lot better this time around. As usual, if you see me doing something wrong, make sure you give me a shout down in the comments, because I like getting better at miniature wargaming. And I don't mind if I make mistakes. I don't mind if I fail at something. Failure is 1 step on the path to success. And if you're not afraid to fail, then, I should say, if you're afraid to fail, you're afraid to get better. I certainly am not. Pray for peace. I'm praying for you.